Okay, yes, I said this has been an amazing discussion so far. And I'm just going to start by saying menstrual hygiene health or menstrual hygiene management, as rightly explained by our first speaker, and which the second speaker also shed more light on. It's broader systematic factors that links menstruation to health, well-being, gender equality, education, sport, equity, empowerment, and rights. So I'm just going to start from the right. Because as we all know that one of the core functions of government is to actually protect basic human rights, which includes right to life, liberty, and possess property. But you can only possess property when you have life. And taking it back again, we said menstrual hygiene health is linked to well-being, social well-being, which then means the government has a big role to play in this. And I'm not just going to say the government alone has a role to play. We all have a role to play because we are governments by our own rights. But let's take it one at a time. For the government, being the umbrella body of welfare mannerism in the state, the first thing I feel the government should do is to come up with publicity on what HR is, what MHH is, menstrual health hygiene is. Some people call it menstrual hygiene management. They need to come up with awareness, create lots of awareness for people to know what it's all about. After this, I think a policy statement has to be drawn because obviously the state government, the federal government, the local government don't do things without, documenting it, without gazetting it. And before it can be gazetted, it has to be in form of policy in which the MDAs, that's the ministry departments and agencies in charge of this, cannot carry out their functions. So the policy statement I'm talking about here is that the government could come up with, this statement in form of saying every girl within the puberty age and above should be provided with a minimum of 2 packs of sanitary towels, panties, tampons, etc. every month. Because every month we all experience this. It's an inevitable thing. And that's why it is imperative for every one of us, to come together in making this work, even as the government will be playing their role. Also, when this policy statement has been made, there has to be action. You can't come up with goals without, backing it up with action. So the action now will be access to the sanitary pad, which will be in form of intervention. And this can be in phases. It can be in phases from the local to the state and to the federal. And of course, all this cannot be done alone by the government. We need public-private partnership. We need people from different industries to support this cause. Because it is as good as saying you're eating on a daily basis. And at the same time, governments need to provide, access to running water. As we all know, in the face of this global pandemic, running water is essential. It's essential, extremely essential, as we need to wash our hands at intervals so as to do away with viruses of all sorts. Because oftentimes we touch our faces with this, not to talk of during menstruation that you need to change your sanitary towels at intervals of 4 to 6 hours. You need to wash, and while washing, you use your hands. So running water is essential. So the government needs to make this available. And more importantly, after making all this available, there is need to actually come up with lots of intervention programs to adherence. The government has been doing so well in this, and I'm not just going to say we should leave it to the government. We all should support the government in making this a reality. Thank you.
Okay. You talked about, let me just ask you a question now. Thank you very much for your input. You talked about the fact that government should make pads available to school children. But funny enough, all this while we've been seeing candidates come up to campaign about campaign. I'm not actually seeing them share sanitary pads. What they're after is rice, you know, clothing, fabrics, and all of that. So you are in government. How can you make this thing, government be aware that, women need this thing and not just rice, that we need sanitary pads? Okay, not just you. How can we, just briefly?
Exactly, exactly. And that's why we're having this. We're not having this for fun. That's why we have Menstrual Hygiene Day to create, that occasion for publicizing information about menstrual hygiene management issues in Nigeria holistically. You understand? And it is our right now, the onus lies on us now to actually make this out to the whole world, put it in the media, because this day offers an opportunity to actually advocate for the integration of menstrual hygiene management into our local, states, national, and global activities and programs. I'm sure that at the end of this program, definitely lots of individuals, political representatives at different constituencies that are coming up with different palliative measures or the other, from now on will know that it is a core thing to do. They will begin to see reasons why they need to do the sharing of the sanitary towel in form of palliative. And like I said, don't forget, it's not just a palliative measure alone. There is need to come up with a policy that will actually, enable the government to create a budget in this line, to carve out budget in taking care of this activity solely, so that every child, every girl and women in the local communities can have access to this menstrual materials, like
Okay.
and the like.
All right, Dr. Shale, thank you very much for that. So right now, we want to ask you a question. We've actually known the fact that there is need for us to step up on our menstrual hygiene as a country and as a continent. Okay, so what are the ways we need to, make this thing come in place? So I'm actually throwing these questions to our participants right now. So can you just tell us in less than 1 minute, what are the ways you feel that, what ways do you think this girls and women living in this underserved urban area, what do you think that they should do in order to, maintain a certain level of menstrual hygiene on a daily basis?
Yes, with the situation at hand, in as much as we're going to come up with lots of publicity on this, I would advise every girl and women to maintain sanity and ensure that they have their sanitary towel ready at every intervals of the menstrual period. In as much as I know after this webinar, lots of individuals will come up with palliative measures on this and moves in coming up with policies as regards this.
So I'm actually asking, okay, Mrs. Tove, right now, can you hear me? Can you hear me, right? Okay, so how can we ensure more girls and women have a wonderful menstrual experience? How can we ensure that girls and women enjoy a better menstrual experience? Just in less than 1 minute, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry for joining a bit late, but so I missed a few of your minutes in the beginning. I'm from Sweden, and I work with an NGO called Healthy Thinking International, and we are focusing on menstrual hygiene. We have mainly been working in Kenya, but we're going to start working in Nigeria as well. But what I'm thinking as well, to answer your question, is also to obviously they have to have the pads, the sanitary pads. That is the main thing. They have to be accessible. But also, if you want to have a comfortable experience, you need to look at all the pain of the. I mean, you have to also be educate the children or the young girls about the period pain and what it comes from and how you can manage it, so that you don't. It's not only the actual bleeding; it's the whole level of hormones and everything that comes with it. So educate them what it is. And also educate the men, educate the boys. This is not a woman issue. It's a global issue for everybody. So I think, yeah, just it is a common question, but to answer it in a minute, make sure it's accessible, and make sure that there's also availability for education about the whole situation. And start young, make it not being taboo. You know, we educate our children in Sweden from age 10 about the period and menstrual, so, and we educate both girls and boys to avoid all the taboo area about it.
Then I'm also going to add to that, to corroborate our point, that these girls and women should also engage in light exercises, physical activity. You understand? Light ones. That would endanger, circulation of blood. And also, they need to hydrate themselves. They need to drink lots of water. They need to drink lots of water. They need to eat good food. And we are actually talking about the girls in the rural areas that has little or no access to all these quality things. They can as well feed on vegetables. We all know that in the rural areas we have lots of grains. So when you eat vegetables as well, it aids, it relieves the pain, the menstrual pain.
Thank you, everybody. I'm so grateful. Sophie, I am so grateful. And I want to say something. I'm happy that we have men also on this particular. Okay, so thank you very much, Sophie, for that. Okay, Mrs. Nkechi, you are saying something. Can we hear you now? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you mute? Okay, so she was trying to say that she's thanking you for being here and thanking our men for making our time to be here. Okay, so I was about to let her do a closing remarks. I don't know. Can you try again? Let's see if you can. Better. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I want to say very big thank you to each and every one of us, and I also want to let us know, because of time, we kind of got a specific amount of time because of our funding. Okay, sorry about that. Let me just wrap things up. Okay, she was basically going to do closing remarks. Because of time, we can't continue right now. All right, so thank you everybody for making that time to join us here. I mean, it means a lot to us. We have to go on, keep preaching menstrual hygiene, make sure these girls and women have the best menstrual experience they can ever get. So thank you everybody that made our time to join us. Thank you our men. We have Chukuma, we have Zoho Sense. Because of time, we can't continue, so we will get cut off. All right. So thank you very much for your time. We'll do this, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. All right. My name is Linda. I've been your host. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Thank you very much.